Hey everyone, so I am back for episodes 8, 9, and 10 of season 7 of The Circle. So, okay, let me figure out where I left off. So, um, we find out the ratings in episode 8 called Going Around. The ratings stood at eighth is Darian, seventh is Tiara, sixth is Madeline, fifth is Kevin, tied for third are Garrett and Jadeja, second is Rachel, and first is Gianna. The structure will then pick who the second influencer in the morning. So, or the next day, I should say, because it wasn't really the morning. Or maybe it was, but I assumed it was later in the day because we didn't really get any time marker. But the next morning, the chat circle chat opens, and Madeline wants to be all nice now. And I'm like, but why didn't you think of that before you decided you wanted to be messy and create a whole ass lie? So I guess maybe. Anyway, Tier tries to get answers, and Madeline says that being rated last speaks for itself. Rachel and Jadeja get all in it, with Rachel coming for Darian and Jadeja backing up Darian. Darian makes, a valid point that first Madeline never said anyone at first, and all of a sudden she wants to point her fingers at Darian. And I'll kind of make this point a little bit later on at the end of episode 10, but basically, see, this is where I'm starting to not really trust people. Because I'm seeing everything that they're doing, obviously. So, because I'm seeing everything that they're doing, but everyone else isn't seeing it like we are all at once. And so I'm more of the person who needs to see the proof first before I just start randomly blaming people about shit. And I'll get more into that, like I said, at the end of episode 10. But yeah, and I'm starting to not really like Madeline or Kevin really anymore. I still don't really like Gianna / the twins really either. And I've kind of cooled it on Rachel / Deb as well, but I still don't really like her either. But anyway, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna um Madeline says, well, I was asked a question, so I answered it. Well, now you're answering it. Both you and Kevin are two peas in a pod because y'all both ain't answering questions, or either you're not answering questions or you're beating around the bush, and then all of a sudden you still really aren't answering the question. You're kind of alluding to stuff and not really saying much of anything. Darian then invites, after that chat closes, Darian invites Kevin to a private chat. Darian asks if Kevin believes Madeline, and Kevin lies. And I'm like, this is this kind of well, he lies and says that he does. This is the second time he's blown, an alliance to smithereens. So I'm like, I understand you have to have a level of trust in these people in this game because you want them to rate you high to keep you you want to bond with them to be able to get them to rate you high, like not only have your back but rate you high enough so that even if you don't get into an influencer spot, if they do, you can trust them that they will not vote you to be blocked. Um, and so I was thinking, if Darian is such a strong alliance for him, because he supposedly was like thick as thieves with Darian, pretty much that's what it seemed like, that's what it felt like. Why didn't he approach Darian with what Madeline said? He just took her at her word. Like I said, I get it. You have to trust on some certain level, but as far as I can tell, they before this whole thing, Kevin really didn't trust Madeline, um, or didn't connect with Madeline all that well. All she said was "boo," and he folded like a fucking lawn chair. So I'm like, eh. So that to me says it really wasn't that strong of an alliance, because he even says out of his own mouth before this, like right before this, that he can't sustain these okay slash cool alliances forever. He needs to create solid ones. Um, yeah, I mean, it seemed solid with Darian before this point. So then the players have to play GOAT, where they have to paint another player as the GOAT of something, um, and the paintings will be anonymous. Not gonna lie, I didn't write down who got who and what they're the GOAT of, um, but I mean, people kind of didn't really hold much back. So after the game, Shadeja invites Madeline to a private chat. Shadeja wants to clear the air. And so Madeline is like, well, uh, she wasn't expecting it to become a Team Madeline or Team Darian thing. I'm like, you should have thought of that before you start spewing lies. Like, you kind of have to anticipate that. If you can't handle the backlash for it, don't start making up lies, because now people don't really like, why should people trust you? What, give them a reason to trust you. um Jadeja, explained she grew up around arguing and violence, knowing how it feels for someone to not come to her rescue. So she feels like she has to do that for other people, which I can understand. I can understand that. Um, Madeline says she appreciates Jadeja opening up and expressing herself, and wishes she would have messaged Darian privately. Um, for what, girl? You threw him on the bus, and then you double down with a lie to Kevin. So, okay. And then you continued doubling down on it in a public chat. So, I don't know. It's weird as hell, but Darian then gets alert saying that he has to pick someone to be the second influencer, and no one will know he's a disruptor. Everyone then gets an alert finding out who he picked, and it is Kevin. Gianna and Kevin then go to the hangout to decide who to block. They get out Rachel and Madeline straight away. Kevin wants to disregard Tiara and Garrett and seems to not have a problem not putting Jadeja on the chopping block. When they go back and forth about Darian, Kevin says he was told that Darian has been trying to get low-key get him out, and lies that he has been trying to get Gianna out too. So the twins are like, well, did you like, they're wondering how the relationship could have soured so quickly when the last time they were basically thick as thieves. And so they call out why he didn't say anything before, and if he even verified it. And which is, something I before I even got to that point, I was like, yeah, like, why didn't you kind of verify it? Like, what? So the episode ends with no real resolution. So going on to episode 9, titled "Help I'm Drowning," Gianna asks who his alliances are, and after a little back and forth, Kevin says it's Rachel, Garrett, Tara, and Madeline. So Gianna says that as long as he takes all the heat, they will block Darian. So they go to the circle chat, and Gianna says that they fought tooth and nail and it wasn't an agreement, and that they were blocking Darian. Darian then decides to go to meet Jadeja. Personally, while I understand him wanting to go see his circle wife, I think he should have went to go see Kevin, because I want to go. I want to confront the person who claimed that they had my back and they weren't gonna block me, because you just said this shit like 2 seconds ago. So you're gonna have to explain yourself. I can see Jadeja any old time after the fact. Um, I would want answers. So like, either that or I would go talk with Gianna. So, um, and I don't remember because this is going to come up later on, but supposedly he brings up that he thinks Rachel was a catfish. I don't remember that. Maybe I wasn't paying hard enough attention, but I don't remember him saying that he thought Gianna was a catfish or Rachel was a catfish. Um, um, and then he's like, "Well, Kevin, I remember Darian said that Gianna had told him that Kevin was backstabber." I'm like, "Well, you not only saw this firsthand when he blocked Savannah, but now, I mean, Gianna's even telling his ass is a backstabber. So you picking him, that's your fault, Pooh. Like, you didn't have to pick him to be the second influencer. You didn't have to pick him. Like, if he had picked Gianna, trust and believe he would still be there. He would still be there. Um, the next morning, everyone then watches Darian's video and goes to the circle chat. Kevin decides to own up to it and say the blocking is all on him because he was told that Kevin was gunning for him and he felt betrayed. Garrett deduces privately, that it was Madeline, but, you know, sends a message asking Kevin, well, who was it? Who is your source? Um, was it verified from independently from the source that what they said was true or not? And if so, basically, if they can be that person can be trusted. Kevin says um, his source can be trusted. But he didn't say anything about how he verified it. He didn't verify it. He just took Madeline for what she said as truth. And what he's gonna do is he's gonna look stupid as hell, because if Madeline doesn't say in the like whether she gets blocked before the finale or if she's in the finale, um, she's gonna reveal to him that what she said about Darian wasn't true, and he's gonna look fucking stupid as hell if if he finds out before the finale, or if he finds out either before the finale or during the finale, and if he doesn't find out either way, he's gonna find out when he sees the show back, because either way he's gonna find this out. So he's gonna look like fucking boo boo damn fool for believing her straight out the gate without actually going to him to verify it. And I hope he does. To be honest, I hope he does, because that's no one told you to believe her without backing it up first. Because y'all were supposedly thick as thieves, two peas in a pod, essentially, and this was your bro. Because you had your bros back when it was Andy, but now all of a sudden you don't have a, like, as soon as someone says boo, you say, you say, well, how high do I jump? Like, and honestly, if I'm being quite honest, now that I think about it, I think the reason why he believe her without verifying it first was because he felt guilty for having blocked Savannah, and so he didn't want to mess up another alliance with a woman again because um, if he did, then he'd have no woman on his side. So, like, I think that just off the cuff thinking about that right now because it's like there's no reason for him to have just blindly accepted what she said without going to his supposed bro first without verifying it. I mean, there's nothing really Darren could say besides no, but I mean, just to blindly accept what she said because she said it. I mean, I get that's probably someone's natural reaction first, but like that it still seems kind of weird to just blindly accept someone's word without verifying it first. Um, anyway, Garrett really doesn't let it go and tries to get people to say who the source is, but nobody will. After that public chat, Madeline invites Garrett to a private chat. She says that she wants to talk privately because answering questions in public didn't work in her favor beforehand. I wonder why. I wonder why, girl. I wonder why. She said she tried to give the watered down version, supposedly to try to keep the peace, and it clearly didn't work. Garrett starts to pretend he's on her side, asking her to let bygones be bygones. Kevin then invites Tiara to a private chat, and he says he stayed loyal to her in the blockings. Tiara says she never knew Darian was in an alliance with him and feels used. Tiara then wonders if his goal was to get rid of the couples, which Kevin says yes, because the couples were just going to keep putting each other first and nothing more. Not bad logic at all, but still kind of shitty to go against your bro. If anything, you should have gotten rid of Jadeja, but or tried to. Tiara feels like he's beating around the bush. She asks who is the source and if they can trust them. Kevin actually comes clean as it was Madeline. So, yeah. The players then all play a circle AMA where they ask each player, or where each player will be able to anonymously ask another player a question. Up first is Kevin, who asks Jadeja who her favorite player there is right now and why. She says Garrett, Gianna, Rachel, and even Madeline have all shown her honesty, loyalty, and vulnerability, so she wants to take them to the end. Second is Gianna, and she asks Garrett who he likes, who he dislikes, and why, because no one knows for sure. Garrett says Jadeja has made him feel safe since the day he walked in there, and they won't catch him with someone who sends their allies home, meaning Kevin. Next, Madeline asks Tiara if she has one original thought or does she constantly go with what the group says. Tiara said that she never lets others think for her. She's direct, and everything she's done was because she decided to make those decisions. Next, Garrett asks Rachel what she meant by some players are playing a dirty game and some are trustworthy. Rachel says Gianna is trustworthy and Kevin has done his alliances dirty. Next, Jadeja asks Kevin which of his alliances are next to go. Kevin says that things change daily, basically. When alliances turn on him, he has to protect himself, and he reacted like anyone else would. I'm not going to fault him for being or feeling like he was betrayed. However, after tensions maybe went down was where he kind of seemed to mess up because it's like, well, where you couldn't have maybe tried to ask once if Darian said what he said. Anyway, next tier is next and asking Rachel why does she think she would or why should she win over someone real, insinuating that she's a catfish. Rachel said she loves when someone fake tries to come her way to take chaos of themselves because they see because what you see is what you get with her in the real world. Last but not least, Rachel asks Kevin as a lifeguard, what is the one sign of drowning that most people miss? She says, um, out privately, you know, the one thing most people miss is people being calm. Um, so Kevin, uh, lies and says there are several signs of someone drowning, and his job covers all of them. So after that game, Gianna invites Jadeja to a private chat. She says Kevin wouldn't budge and it would be between her, the girls, and Darian. So Jadeja brings up that Darian has suspicions about Rachel being a catfish and don't bring it up because she is one of the girls. Gianna says she doesn't think Rachel is a catfish, but they never know, and she appreciates Jadeja not putting it on blast in front of the whole group. Jadeja then says she won't let someone she thinks to be untrue, or something she thinks to be untrue, stop her from being there for her girls, even though secretly she does think it's true. Because in her mind, it doesn't take away from the fact that Rachel has her back. Jenna says that Kevin can't be trusted, and because he said that Darren was his number one, so they forge, to bring each other. They forge a bond or in agreement to bring each other to the finale. Kevin then invites Rachel to a private chat. Kevin feels the heat from Rachel lately and asks what it's about. And Gianna says that he doesn't keep promises and isn't who he says he is. He asks how he can put her concerns to rest, and she says, "Are you really a lifeguard? Because I have my lifeguard certification." And he eventually says, "No, I'm not a lifeguard. My real profession is working in the wine and alcohol industry as a salesperson, because I didn't think being a sales representative would be as respected as, say, a lifeguard." So he's like, "Well, are you who you are?" to Rachel. And she's like, "Well, I'm just a Jewish girl from Pittsburgh and worked as a lifeguard." So they agree to work together. So later that night, everyone gets an alert where everyone will reach each other, and the influencers, two highest influencers or highly rated people will be influencers. So on to episode 10, titled "A Circle Trilogy." The next morning, Kevin, I should say that they get an alert that they will rate each other the next day. I guess I just didn't write that down, sorry. But anyways, the next morning, Kevin invites Gianna to a private chat. Kevin asks who the next target should be, and Gianna suggests asks how he feels about Rachel, Jaja, and Madeline. Kevin bypasses it, and I'm like, see, this is part of the reason why they don't like Kevin, because he keeps bypassing questions. Like, answer the freaking question. And this is what I'm saying about, this is what I'm saying about not just assuming the worst, because I mean, you can have suspicions, but if that's all you harp on about people, you're gonna eventually give someone or several people the wrong impression of that person, and it could be further from the truth just because you don't like this person, and now you messed up their life because you don't like them. for whatever reason. And it could be just something that you created in your mind. And so this is why I've been waiting and watching these people over the course of the last 9 episodes, because now we see Kevin for who he truly is, a liar and a backstabber. Um, so, same with Madeline. Um, and so, honestly, I'm like, I was thinking, I can't 100% blame them at this point for feeling the way they do. Um, I still don't necessarily like them because I think they're just so enough times they're just too loud and it irritates me. But I don't right now, as of this particular scene, I do not blame them for not liking Kevin. Let people show who they are, but just say, well, I don't like you. Well, like, that doesn't, I mean, that just because you may not like someone doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong with them. That could just be your prejudice for whatever reason. So that's why that's why I waited to see how Kevin and Madeline moved before I started, being like, I don't want to be caping for them too hard. So um Kevin then asks, who they see as their biggest threat, and they say it's between Madeline and Rachel. They then, ask who Kevin sees as his biggest competition. Kevin says it's between Jadeja and Garrett. Gianna says Block and Garrett will make Jadeja scramble for alliances. Gianna says before they consider Jadeja as their biggest threat, they should consider Madeline. And Kevin says they should rate Garrett low, then move on to Jadeja and Rachel. And they say they are good with this plan. Now, we need to stick a pin in that part, because how are you just gonna say that but then switch up later? Because come on. Pierre then starts a private chat with Jadeja. Jadeja is sort of not really feeling this private chat, but we'll go along with it. Tiara says that Jadeja has been someone she has loved since stepping into the circle because of being transparent, wants to share as well. Tiara says her mother was literally the one who saved his life because she pulled her out of foster care and adopted her. Jadeja admits that her grandparents saved her life, and she recently lost her grandfather to cancer. Now she feels like she owes it to him to be someone, which I can understand. I'm not gonna. I think that is a true statement, and I think that's very noble. After that chat, everyone plays a game called Pick 3, where each player will be given the same list of 15 items, and they will have to pick the 3 things they absolutely cannot live without. For me, it will be therapy, soap, and money, personally, because money makes the world go round. I'm not saying I have to be the richest person, but I at least would like to live comfortably. So yes, money's going to be up there. Gianna says education, soap, music. Garrett says therapy, pets, education. Rachel says social media, pets, and sex. Jadeja says gym, therapy, sleeping. Tiara says social media, soap, makeup. Madeline says pets, sex, therapy. And Kevin says music, gym, money. I think that was a little cute game to kind of bring down some tension that has been brewing the last several days. Um, Madeline invites Rachel to a private chat. After that game, they both agree they don't want Kevin to go just yet. So Rachel says that Jadeja and Garrett seem close and one of them must go. Madeline suggests Garrett on the chopping block first during their chat. And during their chat, Garrett invites Rachel to a private chat. She tells Madeline about this private chat and asks for advice. Madeline suggests bringing up Tara's name because she's switches her alliances up quickly. Rachel agrees and goes to a private chat with Garrett. He tells her that Madeline came to him to bury the hatchet, and Rachel, asked what that was. He says he has been pretty hard on her in the public chat, so when she came to him, she wanted to squash things by clearing things up. Rachel says she feels that she can trust Madeline, and she asks who he feels apprehensive about. He says Kevin had got to go. She says she has been suspicious of Kevin from day one, and no one wanted to believe her until he started breaking alliances. Well, I didn't distrust him until he started doing that. So, because that's pretty huge. So, because I'm not going to just blindly go against someone just because may have a suspicion about them. Until I can see it from my own eyes that they are being untrustworthy, I'm just going to watch and listen. She says that she can imagine being twice is hard, and while she isn't saying he should go, or shouldn't go, she's suspicious of Tiara since Jadeja didn't include her in the people she trusts. Garrett says that for a makeup influencer, her picture is kind of bland, so Rachel is most likely to go. Or Rachel says that Kevin is most likely to go, but the door is open for Tiara. Everyone gets an alert to rate each other, and later that night, they get the ratings. So 7th is Garrett, 6th is Madeline, 5th is Jadeja, 4th is Tiara, 3rd is Rachel, 2nd is Kevin, and 1st is Gianna. So Kevin and Gianna go to the hangout to decide who to block. Kevin says they need to weigh their options based on the ratings despite their tentative plans from earlier. Gianna says that Garrett isn't off the table though. Kevin says keeping Rachel will be for the best, so they keep her. And Gianna even offers to talk to Rachel for Kevin. Kevin suggests Madeline isn't a threat based on her rankings, to which Gianna agrees. Kevin says they think they can get top ratings from Tiara, to which Gianna also agrees. Gianna says it's between Jadeja and Garrett, so Kevin says since he's last in ratings, Garrett is no longer a threat. I get it, but you seemed pretty adamant that he needed to go. Now all of a sudden you're switching up again. So which is it? Is it Garrett or is it Jadeja? Kevin says blocking Jadeja will make Garrett and Madeline look weak. And Gianna says she will not block Jadeja. At this point, I'm like, Kevin, please stop. Please stop this foolishness. I need you to stop being flip-flopper at this point. You keep saying one thing, and then a second later, you're saying something completely different. What the hell is he smoking? Because he has to be smoking something in order to keep doing this. 1 second he's on a certain thought, and then a second later he's on a completely separate thought that is a complete 180. I'm like, please stop it. It's annoying. So, the others then have an at-risk chat while the two discuss who to block. Garrett brings up a good point that Kevin and Johnny keep getting influencer, which is news to Tiara because this is only the second time she has seen them get influencers. So clearly this has happened more than twice. And Garrett brings up the fact that tomorrow there will be only 4 of them left. Well, the 2 of them will still be there, and Tiara pretty much agrees. So everyone that gets alert saying the influencers have made a decision, and that's the end of the episode. And I was thinking this seems to be the last 10-15 minutes. I was like, this seems to be going too much like an OG circle blocking where influencers just straight up block someone. So I'm thinking that the person blocked will end up being able to disrupt and fuck up someone else's game somehow, some way. I don't know how, but somehow they're gonna fuck it up for someone else. I think that's what's gonna happen, personally. Like I said, I'm gonna wait to drop episodes 11 and 12 so I could do 13 as well. But that's my kind of prediction for episodes 11 and 12 for now. And I will see you guys in the next one.